Today's episode is sponsored by the American Homebrewers Association. Become a part of the U.S.'s largest community of homebrewers for just $48 a year by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA. What exactly do you get with your AHA membership? How about a year-long subscription to Zymergy magazine, the world's longest-running homebrew magazine? Exclusive deals and discounts at over 2,000 breweries, bars, and bottle shops across America. Discounts on Brewers publication books and merchandise. Access to a huge library of previous HomebrewCon seminars and talks. And early access to purchasing tickets to each year's Great American Beer Festival and Savor. Sign up now by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA and get a year's membership for just $48. And if you sign up now, you'll get a free gift. What's that gift? I'm not saying. You need to go see for yourself. It's pretty great. Support United We Drink, support homebrewing, and support the American Homebrewers Association at unitedwedrink.com/AHA. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, co-workers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour? More like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the only podcast that is redoing its intro because it feels like the original intro that it recorded might come across as offensive to all people in the service industry when it wasn't, and it was meant to deal with frustration about their own bar staff, and this is getting long-winded. Welcome to United We Drink right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever fine podcasts are found. My name is Mike Urevich, and I am editing this podcast on June 8th, remembering my hero, Anthony Bourdain, who passed away 3 years ago today. So a little pause for the cause. And we have another chat today on this episode. So it's just me here in the intro. Joel and I, are being joined in just a bit by our friend Alexandria Gray from Bay Cannon Beer Company in West Tampa, Florida. They have been around for a few years now. They are a brew pub up there in the Tampa area that I know some of you might know as riddled with breweries, and a lot of good ones at that. And she is outspoken. She is funny. She sets us off on tangents that have nothing to do with the original topic that we're doing or talking about. But that's how we like to do things here. Shooting the shit here on United We Drink. I thought that this was a fun episode, especially because Joel, if you didn't know, going through some health issues recently, was like, let's keep this right in line with our normal recording times, and that didn't happen. And he was the one kind of running the interview. Yeah, I'm kind of throwing him under the bus, but hey, that's what the show does. I always throw Joel under the bus, whether it's for his audio quality, mostly his audio quality. But this was a really fun discussion, a really just entertaining way to enjoy our Saturday evenings as we recorded this. We get into talking about beer quality, about being a female in this industry, something that we've never really gotten the opportunity to have a voice talking about on this podcast before. And I say never really. We never have had a female voice on this podcast before, and that's a shame, and that's something that I think that we can definitely work on and change in the future. But it's awesome to have Alexandria on here to talk about what it's like to be a female brewer dealing with things like what we're seeing happening in the industry now, and just also just what it's like being in this industry right now. We had a fun time, a fun discussion, and we hope that you enjoy this talk with Alexandria Gray from Bay Cannon Beer Company in Tampa, Florida.
We are here with Alexandria Gray, brewer extraordinaire from Bay Cannon Beer up in Tampa, right? Not St. Pete?
West Tampa, yeah.
West Tampa, okay. Thank you so much for being here. You were gracious enough to have me on your No More Pores podcast a while back, and we've been wanting
one
to
of my favorite episodes.
Well, thank you. And we're happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us. It's cool of you to take your time. And
I had so many plans and I canceled them all for you. I didn't want to sit in and drink Coors Banquet all night. But here I am.
I canceled plans too. Who cares about in-laws?
Yeah.
Well, you just gave up what you were drinking. So, Mike, what are you having over there?
I have a Civil Society pulp. I was going and picking up some Indian food before we were doing this, so I stopped by there and picked up some cans. I forgot to pick up, even though I drank some of your cans today, Joel, I forgot to take some to go.
What did you have?
Endless Enigma was very good. The Super Wizard is a little sweet for my taste, like with the coconut and the pineapple. And then the single in Havana was like spot on what you normally have, just in the different format. Was awesome. You had a great little event over there at your brewery today.
Yeah, I wanted to get over there. We were having a pig roast, but
that pig was good. The collards were even better.
Early thing and everything, like, was the pig like turning over the fire, like that kind of pig roast?
No, it looked from the video they posted, it looked like it was a big like smoker.
Yeah, it was like whole carcass inside of a smoker.
Yeah.
Yay, that sounds interesting.
I can have pork, so I wanted to try it. There's a lot of shit I can't eat now, but I don't know if you listened to the last episode, but it was a very fitting episode because I admitted to over-consuming, eating a Nacho Bel Grande off my leg in the car while I was driving. And then I'm like, yeah, I think it's time to make some changes. And then like 2 days before the episode dropped, I had a heart attack.
Oh, How are you now? Jeez.
I'm all right. I'm just really fucking tired. I can't have caffeine. Very strict diet and stuff. So yeah. I'm allowed 1 beer, 4 ounces of wine, or 1 ounce of hard liquor per day. I have like, I don't know, 2 to 3 ounces of scotch.
Can you combine them all? Like if you take the whole week off, can you just go berserk on Saturday?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Logic,
sound.
I think, I'm going to have to start looking over other items on the Arby's menu.
Man, now I'm limited. I just can't have it all anymore.
Are there other items on the Arby's menu?
Yes,
it's a secret menu.
Honestly, if you look at their advertising now, you wouldn't even know they had the whole beef and cheese because it's like gyros and fresh wrap fucking sandwiches.
Mediterranean tacos, as I was told by what's the dude's name who does the voiceover for their commercials? Is it Ving Rhames? I think Ving Rhames does, though.
Very deep voice.
Yeah.
All commercials are either Morgan Freeman, Donald Sutherland, or
That's pretty spot on. That's pretty
Or
you,
Will
you
Arnett.
covered 90%.
Will Arnett.
Right
Fucking like Lego Batman also sells you insurance and fucking herpes pills and everything else, you know, on TV.
Hell yeah. That's really informative for the public. How nice of them.
That's what they're tuning into this podcast for.
Absolutely. And I haven't looked at an Arby's menu in forever. I don't even know what they have.
All you need to know is curly fries and Jamocha shake. That's really it. I mean, I'll get the 2 for €6 if, you know, if
you're feeling spicy.
Yeah.
What is a Jamocha shake?
Yeah.
It's like mocha almond fudge.
Where do you get the J?
I don't know. Baskin Robbins had that too. My dad used to because that was my dad's favorite. And he would always call it Jamocha, that was one name he actually got right. Like I had a friend named Henry, but he would always call him Hendry. I mean, he would pronounce my fucking name with 2 syllables. He would call me Joel. Joel. It drove me fucking insane. And I'm like, no, it's Joel. And he goes, I named you. I go, I don't give a shit. It's Joel.
I don't give a shit.
So he would always say Jamocha, and I was certain he was wrong, but sure enough, it is.
So according to Urban Dictionary, it is a combination of Java and mocha. Strange because Java is coffee and mocha is also coffee, but with chocolate. So
okay,
it's like
there we go.
It's like Benifer for your mouth.
So how are things over at Barrel of Monks? I haven't been there since like 2016.
It's good. It's good. We just had
way better now that he's there.
Oh God.
I mean, I'll definitely back that statement. But...
Well, no, we just had our 6th anniversary recently, and everything's just chugging along. We're really struggling to keep up with cores. I mean, they're just flying right now, which is very strange. I mean, with everyone getting back out there and getting vaccinated, it doesn't feel like it's slowing down like it normally would right now in the summer. And, you know, we just had a triple can release every couple of months. We bring in Ironheart Canning, and they do some special releases and stuff like that. I mean, today we released a beer that's already in bottles and an IPA we've already put out before, but that thing sold out in like same day last time, which was great.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool because it's something people don't expect from us being an all Belgian brewery, but our other brewer, Ralph, is just this fucking hop psycho. Like he talks about everyone I talk to. I go, this guy talks hops, and I start going cross-eyed. Like I don't know what he's talking about. He's just he is such a fucking chemist, and you know he's going to end up being like the Walter White of hops at some point.
Today was the first time I've had an in-depth conversation with him before, and he was saying things to me like, you know, and I was like, no, I don't.
No,
I know a good bit about brewing and beer, but I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to these hop oils and the studies that have been done on these varieties of hops. Like you're doing a beer, apparently, I'm not going to give stuff away, with a hop variety I've never even heard of, and he was telling me all about it, and I just didn't know what the hell he was talking about. But he's going to be giving a talk at CBC at some point.
Oh, true. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be working with people who know their shit. Because that always hasn't been the case. What's going on at Bay Cannon?
Oh, you know, me and Joe are just chilling, making some heckin' beers. Bay Cannon's, we've been doing pretty well. I did get furloughed for a little bit, but they were like pretty eager to bring me back on after we got that Triple P loan. And yeah, I mean, it's just been him and us just like pumping out beers. We had a problem with our RO tank, which was slowing down that filling up, which was pushing back brewing a lot. So we had like 3 empty tanks at one point. And then we took on non-alcoholic CBD seltzer, which is everyone wants it. people keep buying it. Like, I think Joe and I did 30 cases of each yesterday on our fucking Gosling, which is a one head filler. So that was a pretty awesome, nice long day. And it's like half gone already. Like, people love this shit. And it takes me like 2 hours to make, and then we can carb it immediately because the RO water is already at like 38 degrees. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Damn.
All it is just flavoring CBD and carbonated RO water.
Shit.
And people fucking love it.
So how about a little bit of background for people on Bay Cannon? I did a little research and I was really surprised to find that your owner plays guitar in one of my favorite bands.
Oh, my, you listen to Rotten Coffins?
As Friends Rust.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Joe's a big metalhead, which I fucking love. Like, I don't really listen to that type of music. I listen to like really ignorant, like today's rap music. Let me be me, okay? This is just who I am. But so that's what I listen to. And whenever we work together, it's just like we kind of like have this stare down. All right, what type of music are we listening today? Are we listening to Ugly God? Or are we listening to your shit? But yeah, he's in a pretty awesome metal band. He actually played for Sideward Sabbath, this little thing that Sideward did in Orlando, where they had some metal bands come and play and like during like a can release and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But he's been into music pretty hardcore for a long time, like well before beer.
He played in some straight edge bands.
Yeah. Look at him now.
Yeah.
Heck Joe. We had him on my podcast because Tyler wanted to do an episode specifically about metal music. And it was also like my 1 year anniversary working at the brewery. So it just seemed like a really appropriate episode to do, to have, you know, my awesome boss on and also talk about what he loves most, which is his music. So he went to Siebel, which is pretty awesome. Not a lot of us get to go there. And then he started at Swamphead and moved along from there to First Magnitude, and now he is an owner of Bay Cannon.
That's awesome to see, especially in today's environment, an owner who is also taught, like went through the steps of being a brewer, because nowadays you can be an owner just by having a checkbook. I think that's a thing that we've said on this podcast a lot.
Ain't that the goddamn truth?
Yeah.
Daddy's money can get you a brewery.
Yeah. So to see a dude who went to Siebel, got taught, and then worked at a couple breweries. I've never had First Magnitude stuff, but I mean, I love Swamphead stuff. So he's done the deed at a number of places, but I think that's so awesome to see someone who's not just, hey, I'm an owner. I was a guitarist and I have some money. So here's a brewery, but actually like did the hard work to open up a brewery.
And honestly, like Joe's like the best boss I've ever had. Like coming into the industry all up until like Bay Cannon, I was treated like fucking shit. Like I was definitely treated differently because of my gender. That's for damn sure. I worked at a brewery where I was the only female and the assistant brewer, but meetings would happen without me because, you know, what input do I have? You know? So Joe, super inclusive. He pays me what I deserve. He treats me right. We vibe really well together. He's my friend. Like he has my Amazon Plus login. You know, that's friendship. I love that dude. I'm very grateful for him and his wife. Super stoked to be working with Bay Cannon. Like this is honestly the first job I've ever had where I never once thought, man, I would like to leave. Like, you know, it's just nice feeling just like a person and not just like we have a girl that works here, you know.
How big's your system there?
2 vessel, 7 barrel. It's a Steincraft.
So, and your brew pub, you have food on premise too?
Yeah, we make food on premise. It's a separate company. Joe does technically own the kitchen, but the company called Guava Grill rents it out from him.
subleasing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a separate entity, but yeah, we do have a kitchen with a pretty nice selection of food, and I'm not going to complain if a kitchen's right there because I like food, so like I'm all about it.
I think
and
that's
well, it's like super useful because, like, for example, if I want to add toasted coconut to my beer, I can get some coconut and I can fucking toast it in my goddamn kitchen that's right there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we did at the brew pub I was at. That which we don't mention.
We don't mention a lot of our former breweries.
It's like we never worked anywhere except for where we are now.
That's totally fine. I get that. I shouldn't have even mentioned mine. I don't know why I did.
No,
you didn't. You didn't say their names. So that
yeah, you're
fine.
right. I did not. You're correct.
No, it's totally cool because you had already started giving us some background on you because I wanted the listeners to I mean, please go ahead and tell us like how you got started and everything. Because what's funny to me is like, I feel like you're the one person I follow that's having the most fun brewing. Like, at least that's what it looks like online, like
yeah.
Every time you're brewing, every time you're doing anything, like it just looks like you're making the absolute best of it. And just all these funny stories and just doing all this crazy shit on Instagram. It's a lot of fun to follow.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess I'll just like start from the beginning and we'll get to like where I am now, because I think that like explains why I am so happy doing what I do. 1 second. That was a weed cough. All right. So, I was like managing a GameStop for a little while, and I absolutely despise retail, and I am not a people person, so I just wasn't doing very well. I was not meant to be paid to work with the public. Like, that's just not what I was put on this planet to do. So I was working at GameStop, which is fucking terrible because I'm dealing with moms a lot, and I don't do well with those either. And I went across the street to the liquor store because I was never a big like drinker. Like, I liked Fireball in high school like everyone else did. But I went across the street and I went to an ABC liquor, and everyone seemed to be like pretty chill. Like the age like diverse across the employees was pretty like wide. There was like younger people and like really old people. And so when I was checking out with my bottle of Absolute vodka, because that's where I was, I asked her, I'm like, are you guys hiring? And she's like, oh, absolutely. I'm like, do you like working here? And she's like, I fucking love working here. She's like, I get paid weekly and I get benefits. And I'm like, are you full-time? She's like, yeah, everyone here has to be full-time. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to apply. I applied, got the job immediately. They shoved me into wine at first, which I was like, this is boring. I can't sell this shit. I don't know. Oh yeah, here's your fancy Bordeaux and move along. Like, I don't know. I did learn a lot. I definitely do understand some aspects of the wine for sure, but it wasn't for me. I got put over in craft beer and immediately like fell in love with it and started like studying it immediately. Became super duper involved with the local brewery around there. Became friends with all of them. Started like volunteering and going there and learning stuff. Well, one day my ass got fired from ABC because I'm great. And I started working at a World of Beer, which I thought would be, a little better than alcohol retail. Boy, was I wrong, because they have food there, and I was not meant to work with food, nonetheless, people. So I was not having a good time, but I was still thankful to be working with beer, because at the end of the day, that's what made me super happy, because it was something I fell in love with, and just like any knowledge about it, I would soak up and keep. Like at ABC, they made you take classes about like fermentation and beer and stuff like that. I would keep all the information. Our World of Beer, they used to, not anymore, they used to make you go through like a 2-week beer school, which was pretty fucking rad. And you got like this big pamphlet for it, and you were supposed to give it back. I'm like, I'm not giving this back. I kept everything because it was free knowledge. It was knowledge that I didn't have to like pay to go to a school to learn. It's just like right there for free in a book, and all I have to do is read it and understand what it is. So eventually I was just like, heck this, I need to work at a brewery. It it was hard at first. I transferred over to a Total Wine in the Gainesville area because I'm like, okay, I'll go back into alcohol retail since I am not server material, which is why they made me the hostess, because I could not do that. And so I went to Total Wine. I actually really fucking liked working there. I was the youngest person on the floor. It was like just like a bunch of old people and then like much younger people up on like the cash registers. They put me out on the floor because I kind of knew wine. I definitely knew about spirits and I definitely knew how to sell beer. So I worked there for a bit, and then I went to a Gainesville brewery. I'm like, hey, you should hire me because I know how to pour a beer and sell it. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah. So they hired me. And it was really awesome because like it's a college town. So a lot of the bartenders were just there like for a job, not because they liked beer. And it was really fun, like helping all of them understand how to describe like this IPA or this Belgian wit beer or this honey cream ale in a proper way so the customer gets like stoked about it. So then that was noticed. I went to the director of operation and I'm like, hey, you should let me work in the back because I'm a really hard worker and I can do really well if I'm not working with people. I'm not good at that. So he was like, you know what? We've never had a girl back here before. We should do that. I'm like, lit. I'm still going to have to bartend though, because I am paying for braces out of pocket at the time. So I still kept like one bartending shift for that crap. But yeah, and so I unfortunately had to quit Total Wine. They were super stoked for me and totally supported me. They definitely didn't want me to go. And yeah, I started working 40 hours a week on a 4-vessel, 30-barrel system, running a 4-head cask canning line and a giant fucking centrifuge. So I went immediately from retail to that the next day. And I just learned everything in the course of like 8 months. Like I know how to drive a scissor lift. I know how to like drive a forklift. I had to stack things like 6 high. The first time I rode a forklift, I had to do it backwards in the dark and like a mile across from the brewery to where their storage facility was to get more cans. Like everything was just forced on me immediately going into the industry. I hate this word, total boys club, obvious bro culture going on. Very unfortunate. The term you used when we first started this episode of like, oh, you can just have a checkbook and own a brewery. That's what that was. And it was miserable. I was I was super duper thankful and very enthusiastic about the knowledge and experience, but it was the most miserable time of my life mentally. I was told multiple times that I should just stick to social media because I have no business brewing. Like, I don't know, like I tried my best. Like if someone was like, go get this tool, I don't fucking know what tools are. He's like, go get a crescent wrench. So I just Googled crescent wrench real quick. And then I went and got it. Like I found ways to adapt and learn the best I could.
Yeah.
I mean, the best I could until someone came along who would actually fucking help me.
Yeah.
Because it was just me and my will to learn and nothing else. I didn't have anyone who was there to willingly help me with questions and stuff.
Yeah, they just wanted to gatekeep you.
Yeah, exactly. So I got super duper fucking miserable. A bunch of bullshit happened. I went back to my hometown and started working at the brewery there. And it was nicer. I knew all the dudes that work there. They were like the homies, but they were pains in the fucking asses to work with. I was definitely treated different because I was a woman. Like they didn't treat me badly, but they treated me differently. The pay was shit. At the end of like my year there, I was like, hey, I would like $1 raise or I'm going to move to Tampa. Because if they would have given me the raise, that's where I would still be. I was like, I would like $1 raise or I'm moving to Tampa. That was ignored and refused. And that was pretty awesome and a little heartbreaking. So I moved to Tampa because I've known Joe since forever. I've known him for like 4 years. And I'm like, hey, do you need help? He's like, yeah, who's asking? I'm like, me. I didn't even really have an interview. He's just like, come have a beer with me and we'll talk about how much we're going to pay you. And I'm like, sweet. And it's been really fucking awesome ever since, on top of meeting Tyler, my boyfriend, who is an extremely knowledgeable person. And it really does suck, but I started to get a lot more respect from people once we started dating. Again, sucks, but it is nice that like certain people got off my fucking case and stopped questioning me for once, like, you know, regardless of the circumstances, but whatever. And yeah, so because I started out so shitty and it was so hard and depressing and just, I felt like it took forever. It really didn't. Now that I'm at a place where I'm respected and I'm paid well and I'm happy and I have people who are actually willing and happy to answer questions, I fucking love coming into work. Whatever he has me do, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll fucking knock that out with a smile on my face, like the whole time. Scrubbing moldy buckets, keg washing a bunch of fucking shit that I actually don't want to do, but I'll just do it because I'm just washing kegs and not talking to people. Yeah. Like, all of it's awesome. I get to do what I love and I don't have to talk to people and my bills are paid.
It's fucking crazy how just simple little things like just being cool to your employees and treating them right, which doesn't, like, in my mind, doesn't sound like a difficult thing to do, but
Right?
how much that changes their overall life and their dynamic and everything, that you get people who come into work and are fucking happy to be there and will like, and I'm even a person who I don't think if I were an owner, I don't want my employees to want to drive through a wall for me, because I should do that. Like, I should be the one doing that.
Yeah.
But I want them to be happy and come to work and be thrilled to work there and feel safe, feel appreciated. But you don't have to drive through a wall for me. Like, I am the business owner. I will take care of that type of thing. But that's so awesome to hear your enthusiasm towards being able to go into work and be so happy.
And I use it. I use it in a very positive way because I've been an active member of the Pink Boot Society Florida chapter for about 4.5 years now. And I use it to inspire other females to get to where I'm at, because I've seen and heard a lot of things that discourage females from the brewing industry. I'm like, no, unfortunately, there's bumpy roads, but I promise you, you will find your home. Everyone who's truly wanting to be a part of this industry will find your home someday. And unfortunately, you have to go through some shit bags. And I learned that super duper early on, which I think is better. Just starting out rough and then finding it, because like, I don't, like, again, I hear so much. I hear so many stories from so many females. It's been a lot worse for much of them, but I use my enthusiasm to give them hope that they will find what I have.
That's really encouraging to hear, because I kind of wanted to ask if, you know, you would recommend it to others. And because I find myself at certain times wanting to tell, you know, people of any gender, like, you know, read the fine print when it comes to the beer industry. You know, like, there are so many people who only see what we post online, which looks like so much fun. And a lot of times it's, you know, obviously no one is ever posting like, had the shittiest day ever, like everything got fucked up. Like, everyone wants to put on a front and act like, you know, everything's just great. And like, that's why it's cool following you, because like everything I see, I feel like it's totally genuine, and that's rare. But like, I find myself at times seeing all these super enthusiastic people who like can't wait to open their own brewery or can't wait to get in the business. And like, I kind of want to definitely not be a gatekeeper in any sense, but at least, you know, give people realistic expectations. Like, anytime I've ever interviewed anyone, they always thought I was trying to talk them out of the job. And it wasn't like that. It was just like, I want you to know that this is not what you see on like Twitter and shit. Like,
Absolutely.
it's fucking long days, hot warehouses, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, the whole deal.
It's just, it's not all like fucking unicorns and rainbows, essentially, is what you're saying. Because I can see why people would follow me and be like, oh yeah, that must be how it is for like breweries everywhere. But you know, with what's going on right now, that's clearly changing regardless of what other people let off. Because if it were really all unicorns and rainbows, there wouldn't be over 1,000 fucking stories about things about racist, like, you know, sexual assault, misogyny, and all that other stuff. So, I mean, now it's like there's a lot of people who aren't even involved in craft beer who are aware of what's going on. And why I say that is because I was watching the news yesterday, the ABC Action News, and there was a story about it. One of my friends who's locally here in Tampa and worked for a brewery here for about 5 years was super duper mistreated and came out with her story, and ABC Action News interviewed her and put it on the fucking news. Wow. 5:30 ABC Action News.
Good.
It's definitely gotten beyond the beer industry, all these stories. So I don't think it's really going to look like that to an outsider anymore now.
Yeah. Like one thing that you said earlier is like about like going through having to work at a few places that were kind of shitty before you kind of found the right place and realize, and saying to other women, like you can find your place. Like that happens. Yeah. In a job market, but like having to like, I wish that women didn't have to deal with what women are voicing their stories about as part of that. Like just being in a shitty situation, like, oh, this fucking place sucks. Like, because they don't pay me well. I work overtime and I don't get paid for that. Like that type of stuff. Sure. Like that's part of the experience of, I guess, work. But and finding the right place, but having to go through the stuff that those women are going through should not be a part of that. You having to deal with being mistreated and like underappreciated just because you're a female, it shouldn't have to be part of that life experience. And I'm glad that stories like this are coming out, and like we haven't really talked about this on the show yet, because the last episode was just when it was starting, when we recorded. And like it's kind of sad that I see some of these names and I'm like, not surprised by that. Right. And there's people who've had bad reputations, and it's like, I'm glad I've never really given them my money before, but
and now I'm extra not going to give them my money.
Yeah.
That's one of like the mind-blowing things to me, is that, you know, for as oversaturated as craft beer is, in my opinion, like it's still such a close-knit community and so many people know each other, and
everybody knows everybody,
right,
in this industry, some way or another.
Right. And, you know, with technology, I mean, we have computers in our pockets and can take screenshots and photos and live stream, and like communication is so instant. It fucking blows my mind. Like some of these stories I've read, like I don't understand how self unaware people have to be acting like such pieces of shit and think that like no one's ever going to know, or no one's going to care, or no one's going to find out. I mean, that's
she's never
fucking
gonna
insane.
Say anything. She'll
Right.
keep quiet.
Do you know who I am? Like fuck
I am
off.
a god. I make fucking hazy IPAs, bro.
This is fantastic to like, it's not fantastic of what these people have been through, but it is fantastic to see people actually voicing it, and for repercussions to actually be falling down line now.
Brienne went from 2,000 to 60,000 followers in 2.5 weeks.
Holy
that is
shit.
How many people care. That is how many people have stories, and that is how many people are rooting for us.
Yeah.
That is how many people gave a shit in the course of 2.5 weeks. It's atrocious, but it's also thank you, because that's how many eyes are seeing all of these stories. Yeah. 60,000 people. It's crazy. Yeah. And when she was being threatened with legal action, we've raised over like $30,000 for her legal fees if someone does try and start some shit. That's how much we fucking care about all of what's going on. We're not playing. We're not here to just, you know, cancel culture or whatever else these fake accounts, who I assume are guys who have been pushed out of the industry for being asshats, are doing and coming on here and accusing us of doing. This is real. It's time to consequences. It's time to like sleep in the bed you made in. If you're going to inappropriately treat someone or touch someone, you're going to have to probably reap the repercussions of it. So
yes,
you made your bed, sleep in it.
I mean, I was up on, like, it took me a few days to like really spend the time to go through the stories and stuff, because it was all
yeah,
popping off so fast. And then one day I'm up on the brew deck and like, I don't know, I've got an hour or something, and I just start clicking, and like there was one I read that I was legit physically fucking nauseous.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't even.
A couple of them made me cry for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and to see all of these people who are like, I left the industry. Like I couldn't, like to be driven out because of someone else's behavior is just so fucking sad to me, because, this is an industry that preaches inclusivity and,
it's just beer. It's
right.
just beer. And beer is for everyone. Anyone is allowed to drink or like or make beer. So what the fuck is happening here?
I have such a privilege that I'm a white male who gets upset when like pay comes involved and just like silly things that like upset me really on the whole grand scale, that there are women leaving the industry because they have been assaulted. And I have nothing on that. And it's fucking disgusting that like that has to happen, that leads to people having to leave the industry, to having a bad taste in their mouth about beer, the world of beer, just like the beverage. Like they're mad at a beverage, rightfully so, because they worked in an industry that treated them wrong for so long.
Absolutely.
And that's fucked up.
It is. It's extremely heartbreaking. And it's even more heartbreaking when certain people or certain groups like remain silent about it, like just don't acknowledge it's happening. Don't say that they stand with their female industry beer workers. Like at this point, now that all this is coming out, the thing that hurts more than the stories now is the fucking silence. And I do not think that every brewery should make a statement. I think that's just silly. I think that like breweries being accused should make a statement once they actually figure their fucking shit out and make a proper one, and not pull a fucking whatever that's been going. Because there's a couple of really fucking bad ones. It's the silence hurts from people that you're expecting to just for them to have no problem saying we stand with you and we hear you. So not only are we seeing who these monsters are, now we're seeing who actually cares and who doesn't.
I think that's a really good point, because that's something that Joel and I have privately talked about, because at least from my own work experience, and who knows if this comes back to bite me in the ass, but like I do the social media and work in the brewery for my brewery, and we have decided to not say anything, but we're so small and we don't have issues. And
why would you say anything?
Yeah. And it's like we've talked about this. I've talked with my boss about it, and we are on the same page. And like we've had women who've worked in our brew house before. We have women who work in our in our tap room, and like as far as I know, no one has ever had any issues. But like I know there was one day I was standing there in the brew house, just like, or in the cellar, just reading these stories, and my boss is like, "Are you reading them too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, it's tough, and like we made a choice to not say anything specifically because we don't have an issue, but
which makes total sense. That makes total fucking sense. I think it's super silly for a brewery. Like, okay, if you make one, neat, cool, awesome. But if you're a brewery, like I didn't think Buchanan needed to make one, but the owner's wife wanted to. Great, then let's make one, you know? But I don't expect it from breweries who are like not even accused and already have a healthy work environment. That's just fucking silly for us to expect you guys to say something. I'm talking about people who benefit from craft beer and like outside guilds and associations and stuff like that. Like people who are initially are supposed to be here like for us and the accused. Those are the only people who really should be making a statement. However, if you want to, lit, cool, awesome. Is it expected? Nah, you know?
I'm glad you mentioned that about the silence, because from what I've seen, I feel like there can be conflicting messages from various people at times.
Mm-hmm.
So like you'll see some people going, shut the fuck up, we don't want to hear from you, like we're doing the talking now. And then I see the same people like going, your silence is complicity. And it's like, you just told them to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So like, I know that's like a weird conflict. And I agree that like not everybody should be saying something, because then at a certain point, it just becomes performative and everyone's done it. And then like it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the genuine voices and the ones who are really taking action are the ones that are supposed to say something. Like that's what, you know, what we should be hearing. And like, I have to imagine that there are still fucking people who like know nothing about founders. I mean, we just know it. I every now and then I see it in my timeline, and it's just like, how do you not know?
I usually just delete people who post founders. Like I'm just like, oh, who are you? I don't fucking know you anyway. Delete.
Yeah. And it's so like I feel like there are some people who are unfortunately blissfully ignorant, and then there are others who are probably just like, I don't know what to fucking do here, because I imagine there are some people who are looking at certain things being said, because sometimes you'll see like someone will issue an apology.
Mm-hmm.
And or no, let me go back. Someone will issue like a statement.
A statement, yeah.
Right, but the statement doesn't have an apology. And I imagine that there are a lot of, you know, well-funded breweries with legal teams who are like, if we say sorry, you know, that's an admission of guilt and opens us up to fucking legal whatever. I don't know. I imagine that might be the thinking, you know, if you're a real scumbag. But it's like, so then people are like, this statement fucking sucks, and you know, fuck you guys, there was no apology. And then you'll see someone offer an apology, and there will be people who are like, the apology is not good enough. And I imagine there are people like sitting on the sidelines just like, I don't know what the fuck to do here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, obviously if you're named or whatever, you should say something. I mean I think if you're accused of something and you haven't done it, you should stand up for yourself. I mean, that's, you know, that's like what our whole fucking legal system is, you know, innocent until proven guilty, that kind of shit. But like, you know, you have a lot of shit where there's people are just like not saying anything when they should. And like for me personally, I just know that the very best I can do is like believe people and support them and not be a piece of shit myself, because there's very little I can control. I won't support the breweries that I know have, you know, have all these ugly fucking stories. And like, I can't tell you the last time I had a fucking Founders. So like,
oh fuck yeah.
Right.
No.
So now, you know, there's tons of shit where it's like, well, I don't fuck with them. I don't fuck with them.
Oh, I have a fucking doc. I have a doc if you want it of a list.
There's actually one of the breweries on this big old list that I was one time recommended. Like, hey, here's the person who works over there. I was moving to the area. Contact them, and you can work there. And I'm like, man, I've heard of these guys before. And then when I sent the email, never got a response. I'm like, fuck it. And then when I moved there, start hearing stories about everything going on over there. God, I'm glad that they never fucking responded to me on that. I like dodged the bullet on that one.
I had a similar one, dude. There was one where I was like, please let me work here. Please let me work here. And now shit's coming out and they're getting canceled as fuck. And I'm like, fuck, I dodged a bullet there. Thank you for not hiring me.
Yeah.
And then there's some that are like I didn't know or have any encounters with the person, you know, specifically from these particular breweries, but my interactions with those breweries overall have been shitty enough where I'm like, that's just got to be their whole fucking culture. Like, you know, I've seen them behave shitty to fellow industry people, like men. So imagine what the fuck they're doing to, you know, women.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I try to tell people, like, this is a high, especially now, like a highly competitive, egotistical fucking industry.
It really fucking is.
What's more egotistical than going, I brewed an IPA once, now I'm going to spend $500,000 on a fucking brewery.
Logic. It's called logic, dude. You brew a beer, you put some amaretti in it, you win a home brewing contest. Brewery. Brewery. Hi.
Oh, fucking insider shit that most people aren't gonna get on that.
Oh my god.
That's what I love about this show sometimes. Just saying stuff that only people in the industry know what it means.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember I was working at World of Beer one time, and my manager on duty, her and her husband were going to open up their own brewery. He was working at some small fucking backwoods one, like 15 miles up the road. And I'm like, so is he like in school for it? And she's like, yeah. And he's like brewing there. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, their beer's not very good. And she's like, well, it's not his recipes. I'm like, okay, that's fair. And then I'm like, so what's your plan? What are you going to do? And she's like, well, he's going to brew the beer and I'm just going to do everything else. I'm like, okay, so do you have a plan for your tap room? Do you have a plan for marketing? Do you have a logo? Do you have a name? Oh, we'll just figure that out when we get there. Like, we'll just play as we go.
We'll just make beer and people come and drink it because people like beer right now.
And then when we close, we'll just blame the consumer.
Market volatility.
Good term there.
Yeah, it's just I fucking hate it. And I don't know, I'm very like opinionated. I wish I could be as vocally opinionated as this guy, but I just like, I don't know. I get pretty anxious sometimes when I have like, I don't know, I'm just like when you name your brewery, why wouldn't you put so much like thought into naming your entire brand? So if you're gonna call it the Hoppy Dolphin, that's literally gonna be your whole fucking thing. Hoppy Dolphin Brewing. So do dolphins go on everything now? Do you stick to a certain brand? You just kind of like fucked yourself there. Like, I don't know. And I'm sorry if there is a Hoppy Dolphin Brewing. It's a great name. I just
it sounds more like a fucking like
distillery.
It sounds like because that's Wicked
Florida.
Dolphin. Wicked Dolphins.
Yeah, Wicked Dolphin.
I know.
Which I like. But no, Hoppy Dolphins or the Hoppy Dolphin, it sounds like either a shitty
You gotta have the in front of it.
Well, if you call it the Hoppy Dolphin, then it's like a fucking seaside like seafood restaurant / brew pub.
Yeah.
You know, where
with the
So
where like
we're getting
all
into marketing talk now.
Yeah,
all right.
All the beer is so buttery you could dip the shrimp in it.
Boy, oh my fucking god! And I love that it's like beach themed too, because I seriously, I know we keep going off topic. I just have so much to talk about. I went to this brewery in Daytona, and it was. I tasted all 5 of their taps, and I looked at the dude. I'm like, do you guys not have glycol here? It's just like, what the fuck? One of my beers tasted like microwaved cheese hot dogs. I swear to fucking God. Like,
Mike, if she names them, can you bleep it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, you're gonna love this, Joel. You are gonna love the name of this brewery.
Just give me the time signature.
You're gonna love the name of this brewery. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh shit, that place. Yeah, she
That's
posted
a name?
That's a name.
All right, so
That's the worst thing ever.
So now the listeners have no idea what she just said. However, I can at least say that this brewery in its branding implies greatness. And I like when she posted that, I messaged her like as a joke, like never heard of them. You know what wow.
I don't know what to say.
I had Tyler in there with me too, so you can just only imagine. It was a neat old time, my dudes. Their main tap was Bud Light.
I mean, I was at one recently that was brand new, and I'm not gonna judge a brewery by its first fucking 48 hours in existence, because I know if that happened to any of us, we'd be fucked. But like,
absolutely,
I feel like when I look at a place and there's clearly millions of dollars behind it, yeah, everything's not going to be perfect on day one, but you should at least come strong, you know, in some way. Like, and I really had to.
Your former brew pub did?
What do you mean?
When you worked for a brew pub that had a lot of money behind it, and you brought it from day one.
Well, I've always had the mentality that like, no matter what I'm fucking making or packaging or helping keg or like, anytime I do anything involved with beer, my thought is like, what I'm doing right now may be someone's first impression. And if I fuck that up, we lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, I've never lost that. Like, that is what keeps me fucking going. So
because the brewery I just said, imagine that being someone's first fucking craft beer.
Yeah.
Imagine someone going in there, having that, and that's what they think craft beer should taste like. That shit makes me so fucking mad.
That makes me mad about breweries who have been around for 3 to 5 years that are still doing subpar stuff. And are like, what if that is someone's first beer, like in the craft beer segment? And they're like, nah, I'm not all about this. Also, I said craft because I don't like using that term much anymore. Mm-hmm. But like, it is silly to me that they just think like, we made beer. People will come and drink beer. It's good enough. Like,
yeah,
good enough should never be a thing for food. It should never be a thing for like baby formula. It shouldn't be a thing for water that my fucking city had to deal with for the last fucking week, that we couldn't have people drinking water because it's good enough for people who aren't pregnant and aren't children. Like, oh, great, lovely.
Only time.
Thanks, West Palm Beach.
The only time I ever want to hear the words "good enough" is when they're coming out of Cyndi Lauper singing the song from the Goonies soundtrack. Other than that, fuck yourself. I mean, there was a brewery recently who borrowed something from us, and then when they brought back the thing they borrowed, brought us some beers, and they seemed like super proud of them. And we tried them.
Super proud of them.
Well, and they were just, I mean, it was like you said, like, do you guys have glycol? I mean, it was so unbelievably horrid in so many ways.
Damn, they probably can't even spell glycol then.
I hate saying these fucking things because like I want everyone to be better. And we're in this community, this industry where, you know, I've said it constantly. It's the hashtag craft beer circle jerk. Like I'm gonna stroke you and you're gonna stroke me, and it's like Carlin said, it's like one big stroke fest, and you know the collective IQ just keeps slipping because no one's being honest with each other.
Exactly.
And like it's just like those fucking people you see on like and I haven't watched this in at least a decade, but like on American Idol when they go, who the fuck told you could sing? And they're like, oh, everyone, my aunts and uncles and, my church, everyone said I'm the best. And it's like, yeah, you're fucking terrible. But like people will straight up get lied to their face and think they're doing great. And it brings us all down, I think.
I feel that like it makes me a bad friend when I tell my friend the beer he brewed was good when I don't find it good. I've never been one to like really do that. And especially like Tyler too. And I love how Tyler's just like, yeah, criticism coming. And then he just like says his thing. I think that makes you a better friend if you give them notes on how to make the next time make it a little better. Like, why would you be mad about free knowledge or free criticism from someone who's actually just trying to be like nice about it?
Right.
I think that a lot of people are afraid that, or just don't think that people are being nice about it. And, or especially from a professional standpoint, if Joe Schmo on Facebook comes across and says that they didn't like something because blah, 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 and you're just like, fuck them. But like if a professional colleague or a peer comes across and says something, like I think people get upset about it just because ego sometimes, or they don't think that it's coming from a good place. And I was just rehashing a story today with one of Joel's coworkers about how I once told a colleague, a person who I once considered a friend, that one of his beers, like I bought a 4-pack and I'm like, every single can is diacetyl. And his response was, we're working on getting a DO meter. Like that doesn't fucking explain anything. And, but it was just like, I tried to be, and fuck, I really debated on like how to go about going about it. And it was just like, you know what? I want to be honest. I want to be honest because he's been honest about beers that I've had before. So I want to be honest about his beers. And it was just like, wow, I just got fucking shrugged off hard by just going over to something non-related.
Some people can't take what they dish out.
Yeah.
And then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is, so like a few years back at Mike and I's first brewery, we hired this guy to work in the cellar, and he was like an ex-Marine. And I'm like, I bet this guy is going to kick ass. He ended up being like the most miserable, lazy piece of shit you'll ever meet. Like just every day showed up like, oh, I guess I'm here. I guess I'll go fucking clean some keg. Like just shitty attitude, just, terrible work ethic. It was really unfortunate. But he did learn enough to where he could pick up on certain off flavors and things like that. So he goes to another brewery nearby where a friend of his was the taproom manager at the time, tries one of their beers, and he's like, dude, this thing is fucking riddled with diacetyl. And he's like, really? And he tries it, and he's like, man, I think you're right. And then he goes, let me go talk to the boss. So he goes and gets one of like, the 16 fucking brewery owners that work there. And, and the guy comes out, tries the beer, and he's like, yep, full of diacetyl. And then he goes, well, fuck it, it's selling, and just went about his business. Didn't give a shit how low quality it was because, people were buying it. And it, that's the kind of shit that just takes everyone down a notch.
That's when you just call it a butter popcorn Berliner. And then you make a label with a bunch of pieces of popcorn on it and you sell it like that. Because the public doesn't know what diacetyl is.
That's when you fucking just start ripping off Harry Potter IP and calling it butterbeer, some shit like that.
Or that's when you take a really bad stout and you print out a separate sticker and put over the top of it aged on green peppers because it has an off flavor of green peppers.
Oh, Christ.
And you put it on the market and you sell it because we don't know.
There's so much fuckery. I know Mike's gonna remember this. We had a fucking beer at our first brewery that was this is so funny. This might have been like my first real experience with like a diacetyl problem, and I was probably still washing kegs at the time. But we had this fucking diacetyl bomb. It was horrid. And the owner thought we could cover it up with coffee.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes,
Mike gets a bunch of fucking like 8 o'clock coffee like that.
I didn't. No. I do not throw this on me as like
No.
that was a decision that I made.
No.
I don't know. It sounds like your decision.
But Mike was also not a coffee drinker whatsoever at the time, so probably had no idea that.
Also, I am the most highly diacetyl sensitive person in that brewery and possibly in all of Florida.
Okay.
I've been told by one of my friends who is also a brewer that I can pick up diacetyl in water. So like,
okay, who's this friend? Because I'm joking.
I'm pretty sure I've said that before. I mean, we would literally have a circle of like 7 or 8 of us working in the brewery, standing in a circle, having these samples of this, diacetyl tested beer. Every single one of us would be like, clean. And then Mike's like, nope, diacetyl, keep it going. And we're like, you motherfucker. Like,
it's like that one person who's like, all right, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
I have a question. Tyler.
Mike's the kid.
Okay. Tyler doesn't want to say hi to you.
Oh.
Okay, bye.
He just brought me a Coors though, because I texted him.
Mike's the one who's like, teacher, don't you want the homework you assigned? And then everyone's like, fuck.
Fucker. Yeah, no, that's exactly what that's like.
Fun story is at that previous brewery, I was there one time on a Saturday, just happened to be coming by, and Tyler's boss came in and ordered a flight and ordered a beer that I knew had diacetyl in it, and the boss was just like, let's put it in. And I was just like, I so wanted to be like, no, you're not allowed to have this. Like,
and this is why, because you never know when people like that are gonna come try your beer.
Yeah, like, and I know, I was like, I know who you are. I don't want to give you this, but you don't know who I am. And I just like, oh, I'm sorry about what I'm about to do to you. You ordered it.
We were invited to Boulevardia in Kansas City in 2017, I want to say.
Yeah.
And
I think it was 16. No, it was 17.
It was 17.
Yeah.
And they were really looking forward to one of our flagships, and this particular batch was just fucked. And like,
no.
And there was, I mean, it wasn't fucked. It was just not our best effort. And one of the reasons I left that place was because I'm like doing all the fucking brewing and getting overruled on whether something is shit or not. So
Yes.
Yeah, and we send this fucking beer to Kansas City, and like it's such an amazing event, and we're so honored to be there, and everyone is so cool. Like there's just random citizens like thanking you for being here. Like I'm like, do you work here? They're like, no, we're just hanging out, but thank you. Like just thanks for being here. People in Kansas City are the nicest fucking people in the world. But there was I can't remember his name, but there was like a very well-known, like legit brewmaster from another brewery.
Oh yeah, like he's did the whole thing and everything. He's a brewmaster.
You got all Midwestern on us
shit
there.
Gold as he walks. Bet he did.
Listen,
darn tootin'.
As long as nobody says brewmeister, I want to fucking slap. I want to slap people who say, "Are you the brewmeister?" But anyway, this guy, and like people had T-shirts. It was like his retirement party and shit. And he comes over and gets a sample of this beer, and like now all I'm doing is watching him as he walks away with it, and he fucking takes a sip, and he makes this face like it was someone's first trying, Malort. I mean, his tongue, he was like, like his just tongue went, oh, there you go.
You mean these?
Oh, she's got the Malort. Yeah, I've got a bunch of those baby bottles. Yeah, this guy just made the most fucking horrid face and spilled it out, and I was so embarrassed and like,
oh no,
no. But that's that's what I was saying. Like, this is someone's first impression, so you got to get it right. Some people just don't give a shit.
You shouldn't put anything that's like bad on tap. Sometimes you just have to dump batches, and you shouldn't feel bad. I tell people all the time, you should never feel bad about messing up on a beer. I mean, again, I know it did cost money to make that beer, and it is, more preferred that you don't mess up on beer. But at the end of the day, every single batch is a science experiment. And sometimes science experiments fail. And it is what it is. And you should never feel bad. Like, you can feel bad because you got in trouble, but you shouldn't feel bad that you failed on the beer, because it's just science. Like, and it never always goes your way. It's
it's bound to happen every once in a while. And like, because we are doing something that is science, that is closer to baking than just straight up cooking, that we like, something's going to mess up. Like, one batch goes down the drain. Don't be so hard on it. If batches keep on being that way, you have issues. And
you need to be bummed and figure yourself the fuck out. But I mean,
I mean, I had a brewer / owner one time, not someone I worked with, but another, local / craft / independent / artisanal brewer.
Artisanal, that is the best term now.
Brewer / owner, trying to get me to try his fucking, like, I don't even know what ABV barrel-aged barley wine at like 11 in the morning at some fucking meeting. And I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. And then he goes, everything keeps coming out like 10%, but I can't figure it out. So fuck it. And it's like, everything is at least 10% and you just don't give a shit. I assume you're trying to make some approachable beer in some respect. Like,
what else was he making? Was it just that?
I don't know, because they have the worst fucking social media you'll ever see. Okay. I mean, it's just
what's funny is that they actually know their ABV, because some people just get so into the groove that they stop taking gravities. They're just like, it turned out at that because it did once before. So that's what I assume.
But it drives me fucking insane when someone will come at me like, well, we spent the money on the grain and the hops and the yeast and the water and the labor and the electricity and all of it. And I've always tried to communicate, like, what is, you can't calculate the cost of a bad first impression and someone never trying it again. And I'm sure people have heard me say this 1,000 fucking times on this podcast, but like, for all the breweries that we have now, there are still so many fucking people who think it's still just Bud and Coors and all the shit they see on TV. And the person who goes, they come to your brewery and they try your shitty beer, they're going to go like, oh, I tried craft. I thought it was fucking shitty. And now I'm going back to my Heineken or whatever. And that's because, and like, I've tried to communicate, like, you can't calculate the cost of bad beer. Like, there's going to be word of mouth. Like, not everyone is going to bother taking the time to leave you a fucking bad review. Your sales are just going to keep fucking dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And then you're going to be standing around an empty tap room going, what happened?
You can't calculate how, like, that beer lasting longer than its date code for you, and realizing like, this isn't selling because it's probably bad. Now we need to get rid of it all. Like, and you just wasted a handle. You wasted kegs. You wasted manpower.
You made 3 kegs for me. That's the worst part. But yeah, no, it really does. It really defeats the purpose. It doesn't make any sense to put like a bad beer in tap. But there's like, what's worse is like, there's some people who can get away with that because they're the only brewery in like a 30-mile radius, and their customers and the people who drink there think that's what beer is supposed to taste like. And honestly, I think that's worse than deterring you away from craft beer. I think if you taste an off flavor and you think that's how beer is supposed to taste, and you go to other breweries that are actually doing it right, putting in the work to do it right, and you think their beer tastes bad, I think that's worse, personally, because I've seen it happen. I've been to breweries where there wasn't anything else for miles around, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is what you're telling your town beer is supposed to taste like. Like, this is awful. And it's very unfortunate that it happens, but it does.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that feels like I'm so at odds with myself all the time on this, because I feel like it will equalize and like good beer will prevail. And then I think evil will always triumph because good is dumb. Like, I mean, I've been treated like total shit by some very highly successful breweries. So it's not like, like breweries that make 8 of the same fucking beer. And I'm just like, I don't get it. And they're killing it. And they're shitty people. And, it's just, I don't know. Like, it's, like I said earlier.
Very frustrating.
Yeah.
Trust me, I get that. And then not only are they making the only same 8 beers, they have 14 fucking tap rooms across the state of Florida. So, which also makes no fucking sense to me. But
you need to find an outlet.
Sure do. Which, anyway, since we brought up Malort, so Joel, you saw that that first jersey I got, right?
Yes.
Well, they sent me another one.
No.
Yeah, they did it. I haven't opened it yet because I knew I was going to be on this podcast, so I'm going to open it in front of you. I don't know.
Oh my god! I was going to say you should like have a contest for it or something.
This is a Malort jersey.
Oh, it's
Malort has merch.
Jesus. I feel like I'm the only person on this podcast who doesn't like Malort.
Oh shit! Is that like a football jersey?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I've only seen the basketball. I've never seen that. Wow. I wonder what the number 33 indicates.
Yeah, the other one has 33 on it too.
Wow. Yeah,
I'm
the listeners
Googling
are
it.
like, I don't know what's going on right now, but she's holding up basketball and football jerseys, officially Malort branded. I have their Malort. It's funny, like for someone who bitches about like IP shit all the time, I have their Malort shirt that looks like the Metallica. It says Malort, but it looks like the Metallica logo. And I can't find, and they make some goddamn comfortable shirts too. Well, they don't make the shirts. Some fucking 7-year-old in Thailand does, but I've got that shirt, and then like it's got like the slice of Chicago pizza and the hot dog, and all. I'm gonna be there in a month, so I'm hopefully gonna find some cool shit out there.
So honestly, Joel, I have to like give some of my success like credit to you because you did post that Metallica Malort shirt, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I need that immediately. So I got the Metallica shirt. I got the other thing you got, but in like hoodie form for Tyler.
Yeah. Because
it was sold out in my size. Otherwise, would have got him nothing. But so I took a picture in the Malort Metallica shirt, and they were so fucking like hyped on like my edit on it. They were like, holy shit, we have to send you free stuff. I'm like, okay. So they sent me the jersey, and they're like, please do a couple of posts for March Madness. And I'm like, all right, I don't even know what a basketball looks like, but I got you. And then
that's so cool.
The only thing they want me to do with this one, they want me to post it and just tell people where to buy it. So they want me to just post a picture in this and just put a link on where people can like physically buy it.
Because it is available in Florida now, right?
It sure is. Sure
crazy.
is. This is really cool. I think I'm gonna frame both of them, honestly. I don't know. Again, I would never have gotten recognized by them if it weren't for you posting that shirt. It's like the distiller actually started following me on Instagram and reached out, and he was like, hey, next March, do you want a barrel aged, like a barrel that had Malort aging in it? And I was like, yes.
Holy shit.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
And so he's going to send me one. I'm like, oh shit, dude. I'm going to do something fucking stupid. I'm gonna make the old white men out there so mad with what I put in that Malort barrel. Like, I'm ready.
Oh. Man, I am doing Instagram all wrong.
Right?
Apparently. You've been a fan for years, and you haven't gotten
I kind of don't
fucked
really
all
like it
from them.
I was certain during the fucking pandemic last year that like Truly would have said something to me, because I was literally in the fucking shower after work every day with 2 Truly lemonades, and then they were like, "Oh, we've got Truly hats or some shit," and I reached out and they fucking ignored me.
What's funny is they fucking sent me shit. Well, not true. Well, their parent company sent me fucking Traveler cider merch before. Like, that was a thing. I don't think they make it anymore, but Boston Beer used to make like this brand of cider before Angry Orchard came out.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they just fucking sent me that shit back in the day when we were under the original thing of this brewery or this podcast back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But
man, I can't, like, whoever runs their Instagram, which shout out to you, whoever you are, they fucking love me, and they just keep on sending me shit. And I was like, hey, I know I'm not a big people person, I'll tell you that right off the front, but if you need a sales rep for Malort in the Tampa area, I got
Oh my
you.
God. I want to hear that sales pitch.
I'll walk up in the bar and be like, Malort, tonight is the night to fight your dad. Here you go.
If that's not the new slogan by 2 days after this episode comes out, I'm going to be very disappointed.
May the Lord be with you. See,
why didn't we bring this out in May?
You've got to hit them up and ask for the Revolution collab, where they took the Anti-Hero IPA and distilled it into Malort. One of the guys at Revolution sent me some last year. It's fucking incredible.
It still tastes like Malort.
I'll reach out.
But it's got more of that like grapefruity diesel tinge to it.
So tastes like Malort.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing like the herbally crisp taste of Malort to get me through my day.
I'll have another.
Hashtag ad. Malort sponsored this episode.
Hey, if they want to sponsor our show, hit us up. I'll even fucking drink that shit for a sponsorship. Joel likes it genuinely.
Tyler likes it. We have the bourbon in the kitchen, and Tyler just like sips on it. He just pours in a glass and he sips on the fucking.
They made an actual bourbon?
Yeah, I'll go get the bottle.
Fuck. I remember because they had a barrel aged version that we had at my bachelor party, along with the Anti-Hero one and along with regular one.
Yep, there it is. She's got the
Jepson's
bourbon.
I mean, I'd try it for sure. Jesus, yeah, there's less than half of it left.
Is it Malort-esque or is it just bourbon?
I haven't tried it. Tyler's been fucking gulping it down. I'm just like, I'm scared.
What better time than this podcast?
Oh, you're right. I don't have shit. For no reason. I was going to do a Malort shot in your honor, but I'll just sip this instead.
So, you know what? While she's pouring that, I think that it is a fair time to allow her to get her last call in.
Well, first, let's go to the standard guest question.
Oh, I always forget about the question.
Yes.
Joel, go ahead.
So you've been sipping on some Malort and things are going a little sideways and you end up at the Taco Bell drive-thru. What's your order?
I was a big fan of the potato bullshit, so I'm getting like 48 spicy potato soft tacos with extra mild sauce and a side of sour cream, and I'm gonna go home and place them around me in a circle and put on SpongeBob.
That's the best answer to this question we've ever had.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It was way more than we needed, and it was exactly what we needed all at the same time.
All right, so you've got the Malort in the glass, or the bourbon,
The Malort bourbon,
right?
Jepson's bourbon, if we will.
Okay, now I understand why half the bottle's gone. This is actually pretty fucking good.
Wow.
I'm honestly not mad that I have to finish this.
Did you see there were Malort marshmallows from some like marshmallow company out there?
No.
All right, I got to look it up in my email because I don't know if they're still available. I sent it to everybody. I'm like, did you see this shit? And then I never.
This in a beer.
Yeah, and then I never ended up ordering it. But
exomarshmallow.com.
There you go. Do they still have it?
According to their website, yeah.
Malort marshmallows.
That'll go
set of 12 marshmallows for $12.
Yeah, it's a little pricey, but I imagine it's worth it.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. I need that link right quick though.
They look like cubes of feta cheese.
They do.
That's even more attractive. I want it extra now.
They don't look like your standard Stay Puft marshmallows.
No.
Stay Puft.
They look
not
like
walking through New York City.
They look like little square bars of fucking soap you would get at a flea market.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it. I'm sure they would love it, so I'm just gonna buy the marshmallows. You keep offering to send me bottles of Malort. I'm like, no, I will buy my own. Like the jerseys, I think are like too much. So I'm just like, don't send me Malort, please. I will physically buy it myself.
They also have butterbeer marshmallows, Joel.
Yeah, I was gonna order that too.
I was gonna order that too.
Yeah. But now I can't. So
yeah,
old-fashioned marshmallows, bourbon marshmallows.
You can buy them and just look at them.
I mean, Mike, if they look like feta cheese, I could probably crumble them on a salad and no one will be the wiser.
Exactly. Get your Greek salad and there you go.
No, I'll get my this is perfect. I'll get my gyro at Arby's.
Your Mediterranean taco.
There you go.
All right. So I think we're probably about time to start wrapping things up. Alexandria, if you are familiar with the show, are you?
Ish. I know Tyler's listened to a couple episodes that I have.
You're not hurting anyone's feelings.
Well, no, I have a super hard time just like listening to people talk. Like I'm very impatient. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Same.
I need to go walk over here now.
Same.
So we have a segment on the show that we call Last Call, and it is a point where you get to just spout off about something, whether it be beer related or not. You're unopposed, uninterrupted, and you can just kind of say what you will. So if you want to go and just say something, voice something, go at it.
You know what's really fucking dumb? Unfrosted Pop-Tarts. Who thought that was a great idea? Who's just like, you know what? I'm sure there's someone out there who doesn't like the frosting, and we're just gonna release that. It's just like if you go to a brewery and all they have is like a red ale on tap, you're like, oh yeah, that's the unfrosted Pop-Tart I really wanted. And it's just like, where's the logic in that? Who's just like, fuck yeah, no frosting, daddy. Like, giveth me thy unfrosted Pop-Tarts. Like, am I right?
That's how I feel about the plain donut.
Oh my god.
Old-fashioned donut.
I can get a glazed donut, all right? I can fuck with that. But you're talking about just a cake in the form of a donut. Like, that's it. That's what you're into. That's really what you came here to order today. You don't want fucking sprinkles. You don't want I just plain donut. Just plain donut. Yeah. I bet you buy unfrosted Pop-Tarts too.
Possibly best last call ever. So she's good at ordering from Taco Bell, and she's good at voicing on the spot opinions.
Bullshit. I don't know who actually buys those. Like, honestly, one time they were buy one get one free, and guess what? We're the only fucking Pop-Tarts left on that shelf. For a reason. No one wants that.
You want to plug social for yourself, your brewery, whatnot?
Yes, again, I am Alexandria Gray. My Instagram is a little hot flower. Most of my content is pretty dumb, but if you're into that, give me a follow. I work at Bay Cannon. We're in West Tampa. We are West Tampa's only brewery. We specialize in hazy IPAs and a bunch of other dumb shit that'll probably upset you or your dad, but still come drink it anyway. Yeah.
But you don't have to worry about upsetting your dad because you're already fighting because you had Malort. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You guys had Malort the night before, and now you're taking him out for a beer just to settle the mood, and then that beer just pisses him off even more. And then he goes home to his unfrosted Pop-Tarts and his plain donuts, and he cries himself to sleep.
All right.
That's fucking amazing. I'm just now looking where West Tampa actually is.
Hashtag red ales and Roush beers.
I want all the Roush beers.
I'm
someone's dad eventually.
I do like smoked beers, and my favorite style of beer is Schwarz beers, which a lot of people do find funny for some reason. I'm like, come on, black lagers are fucking lit. You just haven't had one yet.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. This was
awesome.
An amazing way to spend a Saturday night.
Oh yeah, like I said, I had nothing else planned.
Are you still doing your podcast?
Yeah, we do it every other Thursday. We're just it's three brewers and a consumer, and we're just a silly bunch. We just like to have fun. I burp in the microphone a lot. I usually talk about poop at some point. I keep it interesting. So
plug that for the people who like burps and poop.
Yeah, absolutely. Burps and poop. Head over. We go live on our podcast Facebook page every other Thursday around 7:30. We are called No More Pores. We do have an Instagram as well, which is No More Pores. We do go live on there sometimes. We're trying to figure out technology. I don't understand it, but whatever.
It's hard. It's difficult.
It is hard. That's why there's people who go to school for it. So no big deal. But yeah, just shenanigans, beer. We do get into some pretty heavy topics sometimes, but for the most part, it's just us having fun and, having a guest on, like we have had Joel on and stuff, and just shooting the shit and learning about them and jokes. So yeah, No More Pores. Us, we're kind of funny, I guess. Because of me, but whatever.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Well, I, for one, want to thank you for being on the show. This was hella fun. My first time talking with you, and this was so enjoyable.
I do my best.
And we got to get up there, man. I mean, we've been talking about post
pandemic. I think we owe West. 25 breweries a visit on the West Coast at this point.
Tyler's friend Jared from Brew Hub came in today to get some lagers for this boy here. And he was like, "You're still going to be on Joel's podcast tonight, right?" And Tyler was like, "My Joel?" And I'm like, "We mean your Joel."
Wow.
Yeah, your Joel.
Alrighty.
Well, now if I ever want you to be my Joel, I know who I have to fight, or at least one of two people.
You guys can come to Angry Chair, chug some pastry stouts, and just fight. That an episode.
I think that's the only thing that happens after you chug pastry stouts. You fight.
Yeah, you just fight. Just fine. Either verbally or physically. It goes either way or both. Whatever.
You fight. Fight. Anyone want to finish that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Itchy and Scratchy Show. Fuck.
Who?
Alrighty.
No one likes The Simpsons anymore.
I do.
Oh.
I got excited yesterday. They teased the Simpsons arcade one up, so because it was fucking donut day.
Oh, so you're going to get divorced for having another arcade game in your house?
Yeah, but I can be like, look, I had a heart attack. What do you want from
me? Look, I had a heart attack! You should
God, you got to hold that over her head.
I suffered. I deserve treats. All right, so this is my treat. All right, this is what I'm getting.
I mean, I could either eat the pink donuts or just collect them on screen in a little video game. So,
I mean, you can just take the pink off and have a regular donut.
but that's a fucking Pop-Tart with no frosting then. I know what you're doing there. Oh shit.
On that bombshell, I think we're good for recording. So, Joel, cut it. Thank you one more time to Alexandria for joining us on the show. Hopefully we can get her and Tyler on the show at some point. You heard Tyler's name mentioned many times throughout the episode. Tyler works for Angry Chair Brewing out of Tampa as well. He goes back a long time with Joel and I, and we got a chance to shoot the shit with him after we finish recording. So it would be fun to have both of them on the show in the future. Great people. And I guess that's kind of it for this episode. We had a good time, and it's time to get those plugs in now. So why don't you go and check out our social media if you haven't already. We're at United We Drink on Twitter, at United We Drink Pod on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. We don't use it a whole lot, but it's there. And you can check out our website, unitedwedrink.com. We also are on all of the major podcast services, so we make it easy for you to be able to listen to this show. If you're brand new to checking us out, you can subscribe to us on any of those podcast services, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, Amazon Music, whatever it's called. We are on those, so you can find the show, go to it, hit subscribe or whatever the version of subscribe is on that app, and you get episodes delivered to your device of choice that you like to use to listen to podcasts every other Thursday, free of charge. We don't charge you for any of this shit. And if you want to give us money, which maybe you do, maybe you think we're funny, maybe you think we're informative or something along those lines, maybe you think we're terrible and you want to pay us to go away, you can do that too by visiting any of our sponsors on our website. Go to unitedwedrink.com/sponsors, and you can check out all of the links that we have there. You can also go to our store, unitedwedrink.com/store, and buy a shirt, button, sticker, tote, coffee mug, something like that. And that all goes towards supporting the show. It pays for our hosting fees, and really that's it. We've never used a dime of the money that comes from those to go to anything personal. If we get enough to pay for a month of hosting, that's what it goes towards. If we get enough to pay for 3 months of hosting, that's what it goes towards. Joel and I don't make anything from this. Phil never made anything from this. Actually, he does have the mixing board that was originally his and then came into my possession for a number of years, but that's beyond the point. Thank you everyone once again for joining us. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks for another brand new episode. So in that time, be safe, get vaxxed, wear a mask. If you're not vaxxed, wash your hands always, during pandemics or not. And cheers. Here's Sealer Cat said the wang enough. Oh, but the law over the